गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. First of all, offer my millions of obeisances to lotus feet of Srimad Gurupad Padmanitila Prashta Jagat Guru Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Tirandi Swami Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj Nam Nishta Santa Shri Aniruddhas Prabhuji, all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, please accept my humble obeisances. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, Text 15. This canto is titled The Cosmic Manifestation, and the chapter is titled The Process of Creation. Verse number 15. Yat kirtanam yat smaranam yad ikshanam yad vandanam yat shravanam yad aranam lokasa saddo vidunoti kalmasham tasmai shubhadra shravase namo namaha. Yat whose kirtanam glorification, yat whose smaranam remembrances, yat whose ikshanam audience, yat whose vandanam prayers, yat whose shravanam hearing about, yat whose arhanam worshipping, lokasya of all people, sadhya forthwith, vidunoti specifically cleanses, kalmasham effects of sins, tasmai unto him, Subhadra, all auspicious, Shravase, one who is heard, Namaha, my due obeisances, Namaha, again and again. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto all the auspicious Lord Shri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. The sublime form of religious performances to free oneself from all reactions of sins is suggested herein by the greatest authority, Sri Shukdev Goswami. Kirtanam, or glorifying the Lord, can be performed in very many ways, such as remembering, visiting temples to see the deity, offering prayers in front of the Lord, and hearing recitations of glorification of the Lord as they are mentioned in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or in the Bhagavad Gita. Kirtanam can be performed both by singing the glories of the Lord in accompaniment with melodious music, and by recitation of scriptures like the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or Bhagavad Gita. The devotees need not be disappointed in the physical absence of the Lord, though they may think of not being associated with Him. The devotional process of chanting, hearing, remembering, etc., either all or some of them or even one of them, can give us the desired result of associating with the Lord by discharging the transcendental loving service of the Lord in the above manner. Even the very sound of the holy name of Lord Krishna or Rama can at once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. We must know definitely that the Lord is present wherever such pure transcendental service is performed, and thus the performer of offenseless kirtanam has positive association with the Lord. Similarly, remembrance and prayers also can give us the desired result if they are properly done under expert guidance. One should not concoct forms of devotional service. One may worship the form of the Lord in a temple, or one may impersonally offer the Lord devotional prayers in a mosque or a church. One is sure to get free from the reactions of sins provided one is very careful about not committing sins willingly in expectation of getting free from the reactions of sins by worshipping in the temple or by offering prayers in the church. This mentality of committing sins willfully on the strength of devotional service is called Namno Balat Yasahi Papa Buddhi, and it is the greatest offense in the discharge of devotional service. Hearing, therefore, is essential in order to keep oneself strictly on guard against such pitfalls of sins. And in order to give special stress to the hearing process, the Goswami invokes all auspicious fortune in this matter. Text 16. Vichakshanaya charanopasadanat sangam vidasyo bhayato antaratmana vinnanti hi brahmagatim gatakalmashas Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha. Vichakshana, highly intellectual, yat whose Charana Charana Upasadanat, simply dedicating oneself unto the lotus feet. Sangam, attachment. Vidasya, giving up completely. Uvayata, for present and future existence. Antah Atmanaha, of the heart and soul. Vinnanti, moves progressively. He is certainly Brahmagatim, toward spiritual existence. Gataklamaha, without difficulty. Tasmai, unto him. Subhadra, all auspicious. Shravase, unto one who is heard. Namaha, my due obeisances. Namaha, again and again. Let me offer my respectful obeisances again and again unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna. The highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existences and without difficulty progress toward spiritual existence. Lord Sri Krishna has repeatedly instructed Arjuna, or for that matter everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee. In the last phase of his instruction in the Bhagavad Gita, 18.64 to 66, instructed most confidentially as follows: Sarva guhyatamam bhuya shrume paramam bacha ishtosi me drudham iti tato vakshami te hitam manmanabhav madbhakto madhya jimam namaskuru माम एवेश्यसि सत्यम ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोसि सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य मामेकम शरणम व्रज अहम त्वाम सर्व पापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. My dear Arjun, you are very dear to me, and therefore only for your good I will disclose the most secret part of my instructions. It is simply this: become a pure devotee of mine and give yourself unto me only. I promise you full spiritual existence, by which you may gain the eternal right of transcendental loving service unto me. Just give up all other ways of religiosity and exclusively surrender unto me, and believe that I will protect you from your sinful acts, and I will deliver you. Do not worry anymore. Persons who are intelligent take serious notice of this last instruction of the Lord. Knowledge of the self is the first step in spiritual realization, which is called confidential knowledge. And a step further is God realization, which is called more confidential knowledge. The culmination of the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is God realization, and when one attains this stage of God realization, he naturally, voluntarily becomes a devotee of the Lord to render him loving transcendental service. This devotional service to the Lord is always based on love of God and is distinct from the nature of routine service as prescribed in Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Dhyana Yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are different instructions for such men of different categories, and there are various descriptions for Varnashram Dharma, Sannyas Dharma, Yati Dharma, the renounced order of life, controlling the senses, meditation, perfection of mystic powers, etc. But one who fully surrenders unto the Lord to render service unto Him, out of spontaneous love for Him, who actually assimilates the essence of all knowledge described in the Vedas. One who adopts this method very skillfully attains perfection of life at once. And this perfection of human life is called Brahmagati, or the progressive march in spiritual existence. As initiated by Srila Jiva Goswami on the basis of Vedic assurances, Brahmagati means to attain a spiritual form as good as that of the Lord, and in that form, the liberated living being eternally lives on one of the spiritual planets situated in the spiritual sky. Attainment of this perfection of life is easily available to a pure devotee of the Lord without his undergoing any difficult method of perfection. Such a devotional life is full of kirtanam, smaranam, ikshanam, etc., as mentioned in the previous verse. One must therefore adopt this simple way of devotional life in order to attain the highest perfection available in any category of the human form of life in any part of the world. When Lord Brahma met Lord Krishna as a playful child at Vrindavan, he offered his prayer in which he said, Shreya Srutim Bhakti Mudasyate Vibho Klishyantie Kevala Bodha Labdaye Tesham Asau Kleshal Eva Shishyate Nanyatha Sthulat Tushavaghatinam. Bhakti Yoga is the highest quality of perfection to be achieved by the intelligent person in lieu of performing a large quantity of spiritual activities. The example cited here is very appropriate. A handful of real paddy is more valuable than heaps of paddy skins without any substance within. Similarly, one should not be attracted by the jugglery of karma kanda, jnana kanda, or even the gymnastic performances of yoga, but skillfully should take to the simple performance of kirtanam, shravanam, etc., under a bona fide spiritual master and without any difficulty attain the highest perfection. Text 17. Tapasvino dana parayashasvino manasvino mantra vida sumangala क्षेमं न विन्दन्ति विना यदर्पणं तस्मै सुभद्र श्रवसे नमो नमः. Tapasvina, the great learned sages, Danaparaha, the great performer of charity, Yashasvinaha, the great worker of distinction, Manasvinaha, the great philosophers or mystics, Mantravidaha, the great chanter of the Vedic hymns, Sumangalaha, strict followers of Vedic principles, Kshemam, fruitful result, Na, never, Vinnanti, attain, Vina, without, Yad Arpanam, dedication, Tasmai, unto him, Subhadra, auspicious, Shravase, hearing about him, Namaha, my obeisances, Namaha, again and again. Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. Advancement of learning, a charitable disposition, political, social, or religious leadership of human society, philosophical speculations, the practice of the yoga system, expertise in the Vedic rituals, and all similar high qualities in man serve one in the attainment of perfection only when they are employed in the service of the Lord. Without such doubting, all such qualities become sources of trouble for people in general. Everything can be utilized either for one's own sense gratification or in the service of the one other than oneself. There are two kinds of self-interest also, namely personal selfishness and extended selfishness. But there is no qualitative difference between personal and extended selfishness. Theft for personal interest or for the family interest is of the same quality, namely criminal. A thief pleading not guilty because of committing theft not for personal interest but for the interest of society or country has never been excused by the established law of any country. People in general have no knowledge that the self-interest of a living being attains perfection only when such an interest coincides with the interest of the Lord. For example, what is the interest of maintaining body and soul together? One earns money for maintenance of the body, personal or social, but unless there is God consciousness, unless the body is being properly maintained to realize one's relation with God, all good efforts to maintain body and soul together are similar to the attempts of the animals to maintain body and soul together. The purpose of maintaining the human body is different from that of the animals. Similarly, advancement of learning, economic development, philosophical research, study of the Vedic literature, or even the execution of pious activities like charity, opening of hospitals, and the distribution of food grains should be done in relation with the Lord. The aim of all such acts and endeavors must be the pleasure of the Lord and not the satisfaction of any other identity, individual or collective. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. In Bhagavad Gita 9.27, the same principle is confirmed, where it is said that whatever we may give in charity and whatever we may observe in austerity must be given over to the Lord or be done on his account only. The expert leaders of a godless human civilization cannot bring about a fruitful result in all their different attempts at educational advancement or economic development unless they are God conscious. And to become God conscious, one has to hear about the all auspicious Lord as is described in literature like the Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Text 18. किराट हूणांध्र पुलिंद पुलकशा आवीर शुंभा यवना खसादया यन्ने च पापा यदपाश्रयाश्रया शुद्धन्ति तस्मै प्रभविष्णवे नमः. Kirat, a province of old Bharat. Huna, part of Germany and Russia. Andhra, a province of southern India. Pulinda, the Greeks. Pulkashaha, another province. Avir, part of old Sindh. Shumbha, another province. Yavana, the Turks. Khasa Adayah, the Mongolian province. Yea, even those, Anne, others, Cha, also. Papa, addicted to sinful acts. Yat, whose. Apashraya, Ashrayaha, having taken shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Shuddhanti, at once purified. Tasmai, unto him. Prabha Vishnave, unto the powerful Vishnu. Namaha, my respectful obeisances. Kirat, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumbha, Yavana, members of the Khasa races and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to his being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Kirat, a province of old Bharatvarsha, mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. Generally, the Kiratas are known as the aboriginal tribes of India, and in modern days, the Santal Parganas in Bihar and Chota Nagpur might comprise the old province called Kirat. Huna, the area of East Germany and part of Russia, is known as the province of the Hunas. Accordingly, sometimes a kind of hill tribe is known as the Hudas. Andhra, a province in southern India mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, it is still extant under the same name. Pulinda, it is mentioned in the Mahabharata Adi Parva 174.38. The inhabitants of the province of the name Pulinda, this country was conquered by Bhimsen and Sahadev. The Greeks are known as Pulindas, and it is mentioned in the Vanaparva of Mahabharata that the non-Vedic race of this part of the world would rule over the world. This Pulinda province was one of the provinces of Bharat, and the inhabitants were classified among the Kshatriya kings. But later on, due to their giving up the Brahminical culture, they were mentioned as Mlechas, just as those who are not followers of the Islamic culture are called Kafirs, and those who are not followers of the Christian culture are called Heathens. Abhir. This name also appears in the Mahabharata, both in the Sabha Parva and Bhishma Parva. It is mentioned that this province was situated on the river Saraswati in Sindh. The modern Sindh province formerly extended on the other side of the Arabian Sea, and all the inhabitants of that province were known as the Abiras. They were under the domination of Maharaj Yudhishthir, and according to the statements of the Markandeya according to the statements of Markandeya, the Mlechas of this part of the world would also rule over Bharat. Later on, this proved to be true, as in the case of the Pulindas. On behalf of the Pulindas, Alexander the Great conquered India, and on behalf of the Aviras, Muhammad Ghori conquered India. These Aviras were also formerly Kshatriyas within the Brahminical culture, but they gave up the connection. The Kshatriyas, who were afraid of Parshuram and had hidden themselves in the Caucasian hilly regions, later on became known as the Aviras, and the place where they habited was also known as Aviradesh. Shumbas and Kankas, the inhabitants of the Kanka province of Old Bharat, mentioned in the Mahabharata. Yavanas. Yavana was the name of one of the sons of Yavana was the name of one of the sons of Yayati Maharaj, who was given the part of the world known as Turkey to rule. Therefore, the Turks or Yavanas, due to being descendants of Maharaj Yavana. The Yavanas were therefore Kshatriyas, and later on, by giving up the Brahminical culture, they became Mleccha Yavanas. Descriptions of the Yavanas are in the Mahabharata Adi Parva 85.34. Another prince called Turvasu was also known as Yavana, and his country was conquered by Sahadev, one of the Pandavas. The western Yavana joined with Duryodhan in the battle of Kurukshetra under the pressure of Karna. It is also foretold that these Yavanas also would conquer India, and it proved to be true. Khasa. The inhabitants of Khasadesh are mentioned in the Mahabharata Drona Parva. Those who have a stunted growth of hair on the upper lip are generally called Khasas. As such, the Khasa are the Mongolians, the Chinese, and others who are so designated. The above mentioned historical names are different nations of the world. Even those who are constantly engaged in sinful acts are all corrigible to the standard of perfect human beings if they take shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Jesus Christ and Muhammad, two powerful devotees of the Lord, have done tremendous service on behalf of the Lord on the surface of the globe. From the version of Srila Shukdev Goswami, it appears that instead of running a godless civilization in the present context of the world situation, if the leadership of world affairs is entrusted to the devotees of the Lord, for which a worldwide organization under the name and style of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has already been started, then by the grace of the Almighty Lord, there can be a thorough change of heart in human beings all over the world, because the devotees of the Lord are able authorities to effect such a change by purifying the dust-worn minds of the people in general. The politicians of the world may remain in their respective positions because the pure devotees of the Lord are not interested in political leadership or diplomatic implications. The devotees are interested only in seeing that the people in general are not misguided by political propaganda, and in seeing that the valuable life of a human being is not spoiled in following a type of civilization which is ultimately doomed. If the politicians therefore would be guided by the good counsel of the devotees, then certainly there would be a great change in the world situation by the purifying propaganda of the devotees as shown by Lord Chaitanya. As Shukdev Goswami began his prayer by discussing the word Yat Kirtanam, so also Lord Chaitanya recommended that simply by glorifying the Lord's name, a tremendous change of heart can take place by which the complete misunderstanding between the human nations created by politicians can at once be extinguished. And after the extinction of the fire of misunderstanding, other profits will follow. The destination is to go back home, back to Godhead, as we have several times discussed in these pages. According to the cult of devotion, generally known as the Vaishnava cult, there is no bar against anyone's advancing in the matter of God realization. A Vaishnava is so powerful enough to turn into a Vaishnava, even the Kirat, as above mentioned. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.32, it is said that by the Lord there is no bar to becoming a devotee of the Lord, even for those who are low-born or women Shudras or Vaishyas. And by becoming a devotee, everyone is eligible to return home back to Godhead. The only qualification is that one take shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord who has thorough knowledge in the transcendental science of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Anyone from any part of the world who becomes well conversant in the science of Krishna becomes a pure devotee and a spiritual master for the general mass of people and may reclaim them by purification of heart. Though a person be even the most sinful man, he can at once be purified by systematic contact with a pure devotee. A Vaishnava therefore can accept a bona fide disciple from any part of the world without any consideration of caste and creed and promote him by regulative principles to the status of a pure devotee who is transcended to Brahminical culture. The system of caste or varnashram dharma is no longer regular even among the so-called followers of the system. Nor is it now possible to re-establish the institutional function in the present context of social, political and economic revolution. Without any reference to the particular custom of a country, one can be accepted by the Vaishnava cult spiritually, and there is no hindrance in the transcendental process. So by the order of the Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the cult of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or the Bhagavad Gita can be preached all over the world, reclaiming all persons willing to accept the transcendental cult. Such cultural propaganda by the devotees will certainly be accepted by all persons who are reasonable and inquisitive, without any particular bias for the custom of the country. The Vaishnava never accepts another Vaishnava on the basis of birthright, just as he never thinks of the deity of the Lord in a temple as an idol. And to remove all doubts in this connection, Srila Shukdev Goswami has invoked the blessings of the Lord, who is all-powerful, Prabhu Vishnave Namaha. As the all-powerful Lord accepts the humble service of his devotee in devotional activities of the Archana, his form as the worshipable deity in the temple. Similarly, the body of a pure Vaishnava changes transcendently at once when he gives himself up to the service of the Lord and is trained by a qualified Vaishnava. The injunction of a Vaishnava regulation in this connection runs as follows. Arche Vishnu Shiladhir Guru Naramati Vaishnave Jati Buddhi Shri Vishnur Namni Shabda Samanya Buddhi, etc. We should not consider the deity of the Lord as worshipped in the temple to be an idol, nor should one consider the authorized spiritual master an ordinary man, nor should one consider a pure Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste, etc. Padma Puran. The conclusion is that the Lord, being all-powerful, can under any and every circumstance accept anyone from any part of the world, either personally or through his bona fide manifestation as the spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya accepted many devotees from communities other than the Varnashramites, and he himself declared to teach us that he does not belong to any caste or social order of life, but that he is the eternal servant of the Lord who maintains the damsels of Vrindavan, Lord Krishna. Chaitanya Madhya Leela 13.80. That is the way of self-realization. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhuvasya paritanam pavanam Krishna.